Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Women in Music. Hope you're having a mighty fine evening out there. I have some wonderfully talented intellectual women for you to talk to tonight. Please ask questions, share away, and get other people to join in and into the chat. Where it's just a little idea that I came up with that I thought that I would include some other women in music and just talk about all that stuff in music. So let me introduce the ladies to you now. We've got Arowe. I've moved her in, I've moved her out. See, this is my first time hosting tonight, so bear with me, everybody. I am an amateur completely. We've got some wonderful music for you guys tonight. We'll probably get a couple of girls to sing a few songs, and who knows where this will go, ladies? Who knows? I just wanted to, first start out, just get you guys to introduce yourselves, and I can start if you like, just to make it easy. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jodie Joy. I'm a singer, I'm an entertainer, I'm a songwriter. I have a couple of albums out, a couple of singles, music videos, and I am all pro power independent women, and I love to spread the love. I run a music school as well, so I'm really passionate about helping other people in their musical journeys, and I just think that there is not enough collaboration going on at this time. And I thought I just want to talk to other women about what they're up to, how we can help each other, how we can collaborate more. And I put the word out tonight. If there's anyone out there who would like to be on the show or have a chat or sing a song, I want to open up a platform for that to happen. It's going to be a bit of fun. So please, ladies, go ahead. Katy, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, everybody watching. I'm Katy Tunbridge. I am a singer, songwriter, recording artist, and producer. I also write, record, and produce music and voiceovers, do a little bit of acting, and have my own business, Sounds Out Loud.
Wow, you're a busy girl.
Busy, but fun.
And where are you living at the moment? Because you're between LA as well, have you not been?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm in Sydney, Australia.
Right.
I lived in New York for the past 5.5 years and was living between Sydney and LA before that. But now this year, I've been mostly in LA and then got back probably mid-March.
And you've been doing a bit of acting and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, a little bit of acting. Yeah. So,
awesome.
So I've got some really exciting stuff coming up actually. So
cool.
Yeah, I got cast in something really exciting. So I'm really looking forward to.
Can you tell us? Are you allowed to tell us yet?
Yeah, I can. It's on IMDb and everything like that. So it's a new TV show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm cast as a detective. So I'm like, fighting crime and all that kind of stuff. But
very cool.
Yeah, so one's actually based in Australia and one's based in New York. So just depending on when it's going to be shooting. Yeah, flying back and forth.
Oh, how exciting for you. So are you just acting and performing when you were over in LA?
When I was in LA, I was recording music. So I wrote a song in February and just recorded that. So that's pretty much nearly ready to go. We're just like final stages of mixing and mastering. And that's with my band now over in LA. So I got some phenomenal artists and phenomenal musicians, I should say, like on the track. And
wow.
So yeah, it's astounding. I'm just super excited about it.
Katy's on the edge. She's about to watch. This is so cool. Wow, and it's all peaking at the same time for you with your acting and your music as well.
It really is. I feel like it's just kind of like, slingshot. It's been pulled back. It's like nothing for a while. And, I feel like, it happens with a lot of us. It's like, when's it going to happen? And it's kind of like, like that wait. And you're being pulled back. And then all of a sudden it was just like, and you're launching and flying
but
through
all
the
the
air.
hard work's paying off, It's awesome. And that's the same with Elena down there where you're next. Do you feel like that too? Like you're just about to slingshot into your career? I mean, it's early days for you. What, you're only 17, hey?
Yeah, year 12, yeah.
Yeah, year 12.
Stepping into uni will be a big big step for me, and it'll be all new, but I definitely things will kick off and start to pick up momentum.
And so tell us about you and your music and where you're at with it.
Well, I am a local entertainer. I do gigs at cafes and restaurants, and I've been a local busker at Surfers Paradise for the past 6 years. I'm a singer-songwriter, and my passion lies in film composing and composing music for video games. That's like my ultimate goal. Yeah, like that's what I want to do and study.
There's a lot of money in that, isn't there, in singing music? That's good on you. What a great idea. So are they two different genres for you, like your video games to what you actually do with your live performance?
Definitely.
So what's the genres? What's the difference?
My performing and, my entertaining and stuff is more so like pop or indie or like original type style. People that like things that people listen to on the radio. Whereas film composing and for video game, composition, it's more like orchestral based stuff or like background music or stuff So.
And what about you, Arowe? Where are you sitting with genre of music and where are you at with your career?
Well, I had similar dreams to compose for games.
Really?
Yeah, I did. And then well, my journey went like this because I wanted to do composition for games. I studied sound engineering, and I had to work for 5 years in the field before I got an accreditation to get into TAFE. Like they kept rejecting me 4 years in a row. Wow. And then finally I used the shtick, well, you don't have any female students, so you better hire me. And it worked. And apparently, because I'm severely dyslexic, they couldn't read my application form. So apparently.
So that's the only reason why.
Apparently that's what was going on. But anyway, while at uni, I broke through my fears around sharing my music, and I started performing as Arowe. About 2009, I won an award with Vic Music to do a little mini tour with Jen Clower, who runs I Manage My Music and is the partner of Courtney Barnett, and little Birdie, who was like Little Birdie was a band.
That Little Birdie.
I think it's different. It's not that girl. No. Maybe it is. I don't know. But anyway, I got to open for them for a gig, and it was a real eye opener into performing. And I got a band together for it, and it just started this whole project. And it's been like 15 years with Arowe, and I only just bought my name the other day, my business name. I just bought my business name. Because earlier in the year, someone from America was like, hey, can I have the Arowe.com? Because you're not operating anymore. And I was like, listen, kid, you don't know. So yeah, I have to real get back on the track, because earlier this year, a track of mine was released with a producer called Osterio. He's a Mexican-Australian musician, and he makes bass music. And he's played at Burning Man, and he's performed our music, our collaborations to Burning Man performances and other big festivals like that around the world.
Wow.
And he just got signed. He just got signed to a Canadian label, and then coronavirus hit. So we were about to start doing like the tours, and I was like, I finally made it.
Wow.
Now my tours are cancelled.
I didn't know that, Arowe, because we obviously met earlier, and I knew you were on the break of something, but I didn't know it was that. So, wow, that's awesome.
I had this real like anticipation feeling, and I've been up and down so many times that I really don't. Like when someone calls me and they're like, yeah, I'm a producer, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah. All right, sure you are. So my dream for making game music, it hasn't gone anywhere apart from like we bought Splice, we bought Ableton. I've tried to learn production this year, and my partner is a massive gamer, so I hear the music all the time. So
Yeah, right.
That's my tip for you. Listen to gaming music.
Oh, I game all the time.
You've got it. You've got it. Yeah. So
we've had some comments here. We had some comments just coming down the side. What Grant said, what draws you to composing videos, music videos? Well, I should say gaming videos.
I'm going to mute myself, guys, because I need to eat dinner.
Yeah, you do that.
Well,
I'm glad we can dine with you.
I love how music really can capture and enhance an emotion.
Yeah.
Depending on what instrument you use, depending on what key. So like keys are like making like major or minor, meaning like you make it sound happy or you make it sound sad. And when you watch, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but I reckon you should try it. You guys at home, watch a video and mute it. Like watch like something horror or something, you know, triumphant, like some hero or something. Watch it without music and you will realize the impact music has on your emotions and your feelings towards that film.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. And Queensland Music Festival puts on a competition called Score It competition, and it's for high school students. And they have different categories, so like junior, senior, and then plus, which is open for all. And I've been fortunate enough to win the past 3 years, which has been pretty cool.
Wow.
But with that, what they do is the Griffith Film School puts forward a film with no music, and then they leave it up to the contestants to score, to write the music for it. And so we're given like this film, and there's just like nothing, and you just have to like you read like the director's notes, and then you have to kind of pick and choose what you want to portray here and what you want the audience to feel here and what emotion you want to evoke in the audience there. And it's really, really interesting hearing it without music, and then the end final product hearing it with music. And then the best part is when you have the finals and then they show like clips of like everybody's comp, and it's to the same video, but they're all so different. And so I find it really fascinating.
Oh, very cool. Wow, I didn't know you did that. That's really, really interesting. So just getting back to you over there, Katy, I wanted to chat with you ladies tonight about a couple of different things, and I really wanted to talk about genres of music, in particular pop, of course, that affects a lot of us, and the soul, and just you probably have some insight into what's available in opportunities for women in music in relation to maybe festivals or getting into that genre of music and being able to perform it, as opposed to blues or rockabilly or something along those lines. Because I know when you're in America, there's a lot of opportunity for pop, but I'm not seeing, and in Sydney and in Melbourne, but not so much up in Queensland where the three of us are, the other three on the panel. So just wanted to know what your thoughts are on that, each of you.
Yeah. Well, as far as like LA dynamics to like New York to Sydney, like vastly different. So I feel like location, obviously plays a part. Like you said, like up in Queensland, there's not that much kind of happening. But I mean, now with coronavirus, it's crazy too. But like as far as like festivals and stuff like that, like there's going to be, certain things where, there's always going to be some element of travel and stuff like that around genres. So I feel like, traveling outside of, your comfort zones kind of really just opens like the door to like different styles and genres and stuff like that. But then you kind of almost within that, you find your people, and then you find like where you can kind of sit within that. Yes, yeah.
And you've definitely found that too, Arowe, haven't you? Like you come from the Melbourne scene and then coming up to Queensland, and it's, you've got that network. You can tap into that genre of pop music and soul, but it's not as easy up here, would you say? Or
I would say, because I classified myself as a soul roots artist. But if you were to audibly listen to the music I was making in Melbourne and par it next to an artist, it could be like Courtney Barnett So it could be like alt rock, folk, and a lot of people in Brisbane, when I first came here, they were like, "This is rock country," and I was like, "No, this is soul." And they're like, "This is country," and now I've taken it on, and I'm like, okay, maybe I could be a country singer because I'm in this new landscape.
Wow, it's
So
weird how your music's being perceived. You know what I mean? You think I'm this, and that's really, really interesting. And I mean,
sorry,
who dictates that out there? I suppose is I know for myself on the live festival scene up in Queensland, there's more. It's country. We've got country. We've got a great country scene. We've got a good folk scene. We've got a good blues and roots scene. We've got a rockabilly scene. But for pop and soul, I sort of ask you all, sort of saying, where is that availability for us to go and perform in that genre of music? I just find it really interesting, you know, unless, of course, you're doing it in the corporate market. But I'm talking about to get to the masses, to get, apart from doing it online, how else are there opportunities in that genre? What do you think?
I'd like to say, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it. Go.
I just think it's really about your brand message, because I've seen a few pop artists in the Gold Coast. They're like dancing and singing, and I'm like, that is so pop. And they're doing it in the nightclub scene, in the burlesque scene. And then they got a niche genre like in the LGBTQ scene. But they're across those genres, and they're not doing events. Like where I would normally think in this region, in the Queensland region, I would normally think to find pop at a casino or at an event, you know, like a racetrack or like a high-end event, where if I was singing pop in Melbourne, I would be getting paid to play clubs or getting paid to come to Sydney to play openings of hotels and expecting to be like rubbing shoulders with fashionistas and high-end event curators. So yeah, I feel like in our region, people really do the branding to find their niche markets, and the market, like the people in Queensland, are really happy to mingle and cross-pollinate like that. Like they're really happy for you to pull, like this one girl, Elephants or Fierce. She did this motel tour a few years ago, and she just booked out motels, and her music is real, like one of her tracks is something like Cocaine Blues or something like that. Like it's very like, you know, you could hear it on the charts in America. And she had a little band and her crew, and people like came to these secret shows, and they filmed it, and they promoted it, and it was really successful for her. And now her genre has changed dramatically. She's like very much like Kate Miller-Heidke, like very operatic and theatrical. So her sound has really gone on a sonic journey, and her audience is really happy to stick with her because of the way that she delivers like these niche style curated events. So it's about branding. That's what I feel. I'm going to mute now.
Yeah.
Got one right.
And just getting back to you, Katy, do you want to dip in there? What do you feel like?
Yeah, for sure. Like as far as like blues and stuff like that, I would say definitely there's like, you know, a lot of blues and jazz clubs in New York and stuff like that. So there's that kind of like underground scene and you know, wherever you go, like especially in the States, but I would say definitely New York and LA as well. Like a lot of the blues clubs and soul clubs, like it's just there, like it's just like a hub. And you kind of like, I dated a drummer and he used to play at like Blue Note, like jazz club in New York City and stuff like that. And it was just like a real community. And that's kind of what it was. But what like Arowe was saying definitely about, you know, like what's your message and, you know, the branding behind it. It's kind of like that's where you kind of get like real followers, and then people kind of like hear your message, but also they're kind of like, oh, like your music is awesome, and it kind of just expands your audience in a way. And then it's like they're sharing your music, and you know, it's like network and marketing, but also branding and your message that you carry with your music.
And what you said, I dated a drummer is a song. There's a song in that.
Yeah, there is. I like it. Maybe you two can write one together.
Yay.
I've dated many drummers.
Yeah.
I like it.
Right?
I like it.
I know, it's like me and like drummers or bass players. Like
I have never dated a muso, so there you go. You girls got one up for me. But I'm open to it. What about you, Alina? What's your vibe on that question? Just in relation to the soul pop opportunities in Queensland, because obviously that's your landscape for someone like you. I mean, being so young, you'd be tapping into so many great networks, you know. I feel when you get out of school and uni and stuff like that, you keep a network, obviously, but it's everyone's doing something fresh and new at your age, hey?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It's I can definitely have like a different perspective than you guys, like through younger eyes and through what's happening around me. I know that like on the Gold Coast we have a thing called like the Blues Festival and stuff, like Blues on Broadbeach. And there's lots of opportunities for like blues and jazz and rock even. And coming to think about it, I feel like pop, I feel like our generation views pop like it's very like American, like Americanized, you know? And I really want to go to what one of the comments said about does social media and the internet reduce barriers of location? And I definitely think it does, because you can have, you know, Joey from the middle of Whoop Whoop, you know, upload something to SoundCloud, and then overnight he's a success and he has millions of followers. And then, you know, it's interesting. And like, I feel like with a younger audience, what we like to listen to and what we like to follow perhaps is somebody not around our age. Like you could take Billie Eilish as an example. I feel like she has a massive following because she is so young and because she is so relatable and because she produces music that, you know, the kids can be like, oh, I can relate to that. That's such a, as people say, that's such a mood, you know? And so I feel like young artists really have a leg up when it comes to pop, and especially with, you know, things like SoundCloud and things like, you know, like Triple J Unearthed. That's a really good, you know, platform for people to get their music out there and to get people listening. And so I feel like even if there are not many real life opportunities to get your music out there, like concerts or competitions or festivals, there is plenty, like endless things online that you could enter.
Yeah, that's true.
Can I just say too, I'm one of my friends' daughters, she's in Echo Smith, like that's her children, and they do lives all the time. So they're just on like a Facebook Live doing an hour show. So they'll like set it up. They'll have like basically like their on stage and performance, and you know they're kind of like, all right, you know, Facebook Live, and it's posted to, you know, obviously Facebook, it's posted like Instagram, like here's the link, it's posted to, I don't know, LinkedIn, whatever, like then like to all their friends and stuff like that, networking. But then also like live streaming also too on YouTube. So if you've got like a YouTube channel, there's ways to utilize that from a marketing perspective, as well as kind of like branding and bringing it all together and kind of, hey, this is where we are, watch us, like kind of thing.
And after COVID, there was lots and lots of like Facebook pages and stuff that were created to basically promote and to help music stay basically active, you know, on the coast or in Queensland, and where people would upload live streams or like whoever ran these pages, they would like constantly post links to all of these different artists and their YouTube channels and their like websites and everything. And so I definitely think that over, you know, like with the internet, it basically eradicates all barriers of location, unless you live in a location where you don't have like access to Wi-Fi, because I guess
or you've got really bad Wi-Fi.
Antarctica or something.
Well, I hope our Wi-Fi tonight is okay for you guys. And as I said, this is our first Women in Music live stream. So do leave your comments there, share, please have a watch party, because as artists, we love the attention. But apart from the attention, I mean, it's great to just be collaborating and getting out there together. And hearing everyone's perspective is really interesting. And you think other people, oh, you know, we're just having a little chat here, we'll probably bore people, but it's so interesting when you're hearing it from a 17-year-old to a 43-year-old to, and I don't know how old you ladies are, and they say you should never ask this question.
I'm in between.
Me too.
It's okay to lie. It's okay to lie.
Can I answer a question that's on the thread?
Yeah, do it.
So I'll just out myself here. I work as a lecturer in entertainment marketing. It doesn't make me an expert, like somebody else once said, but makes me hungry to learn, because it's an adaptable age where marketing is just constantly changing. So someone's asked, what strategies do you use to help stand out in social media when there's so much out there?
Great question.
First of all, it's just like operating any type of customer service business, and you need to understand the platforms that are available to you and then decide how your conversation style is. So if you like take a simple template and you know that you're a soul artist and you're all about equality, soulfulness, and peace, love on earth. So you're Josh Stone, for instance, you know. So you've got, you know, the 60s look because she's all about peace and love. So she's taking a slice from history, and she knows her market because there's it's an aging demographic soul, but she's a very young person. So she started when she was 17. So she's trying to hit her market as well and talk about relevant issues with the old school sound. So that's the scope of her message, right? And then where does she start on social media? You got Facebook is huge. Facebook Live is the new TV. It's the new Foxtel. Instagram Live is another new Foxtel. And then TikTok has become really massive over COVID-19. It's one of the highest downloaded apps. So where record labels are looking for music, if you're Josh Stone and you haven't been found and you want to be found, because you want people to connect with your sound. You need help getting further, and all news is good news. Like even bad press is good news sometimes. So you can always flip bad press around. So Josh Stone, our particular Josh Stone example, she says she chooses to use Facebook Live to talk about her personal impact of what's happening in the world. She only does her live from her bedroom on Facebook Live, and she uses her Instagram TV and her Instagram feed to talk about her music career in make it look really professional. So she's a music industry professional. She's got her press shot on there, her electronic press kit, her EPK. She's got a picture of her song that she's going to upload to an aggregator so it can get on all the streams, Spotify and Apple iTunes and elsewhere. There's hundreds and hundreds of places you can stream music. And so she's using those two, and then maybe she might choose YouTube, because YouTube can be monetized once you get over 1,000 followers. So she might choose to do that, or she might choose to find SoundCloud, because SoundCloud has a niche market of people that are into hip hop, and hip hop crosses over with soul, and that's how she's going to find the younger demographic. But then maybe, like you suggested, to go on Triple J on Earth and drop a track there and join it in a competition to get in Splendid in the Grass or something like that. So yeah, there is a lot you can do, but you think smart about where your market is, the people that you want to come to your gigs, who you want to sing to, the people that you're writing the songs for, and then where are you going to find them? And that's how you approach social media.
Yeah, thank you, Arowe. Good, really, really covered, broad answer, but hitting the nail on the head.
Add anything I missed. Add anything you.
Katie, is there anything that Arowe hasn't tapped in on that you could think of? You know, when someone's talking, you think, I just got to add that.
Everything as she was talking, I'm like, yes. Yeah, I was like, yep, exactly what I would do. But yeah, definitely, totally agree, 100%. YouTube, online aggregators, that kind of stuff, marketing, networking. Networking is key, I reckon. And having having it in your mind where you want to go and what you want to be and how you identify as an artist, because I feel that really draws it to you. So if you know who you are, you own who you are, you know the kind of music that what you're about, you know the message you're portraying and putting forward, and once you kind of have that, like it's that whole law of attraction thing. That's what kind of like it draws to you, I feel.
Yeah,
I also
just
feel like,
go for it.
I was going to say,
Lena.
like consistency really is the key. Like if
Yeah.
you say, okay, person A and person B. Person A is somebody who, you know, fits like everything that you just said and has like their identity and everything, knows what they want, knows what message they want to get across, but they only post like every now and then, you know, because they get busy or they're trying to do other stuff. And then you have person B who is, you know, basically almost the same, but is posting every day, or like every second day, and consistently has lives at this time, and you know is going to be performing here, and you know is constantly broadcasting
engaged with their audience.
And person B is definitely more likely to attract a larger audience and to gain a following. And
and that leads me to my next question for you all, because as independent artists, and you know, when you don't have a record label behind you, and Katy, you can elaborate on that where you're sitting with all of that, but I started out back in 2005, and I had a record deal, and I had all of that done for me, you know, all the branding, all of that, everything we've been discussing, and it was completely different back those days. And I feel like we've got so much at our fingertips now, because you know you've got the back end of your Spotify accounts and your iTunes accounts. You can see who's streaming, you can see what Shazam's doing. It's so interesting. There's so much to look at, but it can be overwhelming as well, because there's so much to do as an artist. And do you find that sometimes that you're so engaged in getting yourself out there, marketing, keeping up with your posts, all those things we've been talking about, and I find sometimes it is overwhelming for me. And, you know, then you're juggling everything else, which us women do so well. You know, and I just find, do you find that you get sort of waylaid with that and it takes away from your creation sometimes? And I just want to throw back to you, Alina. Or do you have someone helping you with that perhaps?
I think if you've just, because obviously if you start music and you want to be a musician or a performer, you have a passion there and you have ideas and thoughts, and as long as you never lose that, like although you may get busy with everything, as long as you come down at the end of the day and go, well, this is what I want to do, and you know you just got to constantly keep trying to find things that inspire you or motivate you, or you know, keep your creative juices flowing, you know.
Do you find that all of the promo and the branding and everything gets in the way of your music, or you find that you're always drawing back to that spot where you can be creative and it keeps you going, keeps you on track?
I don't really have much to say on this, because like I haven't personally been in that situation where it's kind of where I don't feel like me anymore, because I've always stayed true to what I write and to what I produce, and you know. And so I'm not really sure, but I'm sure there's so many performers and stuff out there that, especially ones that hit fame so quickly, like overnight, you know, successes and stuff. I'm sure that when they're just like thrown in the deep end of, you know, the music industry, I'm sure they really struggle with, you know, identity, you know, and self.
Authentic choices, because they're just having to deliver product, and they're like, is that authentic? Is it ready?
And I find that holds a lot of musicians back, and songwriters in particular. They don't release because, you know, they're heading for perfection, and I think sometimes an audience just wants to see you raw and for who you are, and you know, that's me. And I hear that so much from some of my students and other musicians that I know, and they hold back. And look, I've certainly been guilty of it through my career as well. But I think what I'm sort of trying to head toward though is like when you're building your brand and you're you've got your gigs going on, you've got all of the marketing that goes around it. Are you getting tied up in that like I do sometimes, or is it just like, no, I've got someone doing it for me? How do you attack all of everything that you've got to get done? Because as I said, you've got to be tracking your statistics. You've got merch that you've got to get out there. When you've released, and I realise that for Alina, she's on the edge of doing that. So, and Katy, tell us more about your release story and where you're at.
Yeah,
and answering that question as well.
yeah, of course, I'll do my best. I mean, I've released 10 songs of my own already. So I've started out songwriting when I was 8 years old. I wrote my first song, performed it in front of like 1,500 people. And then so from there, it was just like, okay, I'm writing, and I knew I wanted to do that. So yeah, I've released 10 songs, but as well, I've like got my diploma recording engineer. So I'm a recording engineer as well. I was mixing live sound in New York.
Wow.
And so with that, I was kind of, releasing my music, but I was also, some tracks I'd be like, no, I want another engineer on it, or I want, someone else's ears on the track. So I'll bring in people. And a lot of my album cover art I did myself. There was a couple that I kind of outsourced and was like, hey, like, I can't do this.
Far out.
I kind of got this idea in my head, but you can kind of like outsource and stuff like that. But there was a time where I was pretty much doing everything myself, and it was like burning me out. So I was not only, writing the songs, like being in that creative space, being in writes with different people, and then
running a band,
and kind of like who am I? Where's my identity? Like, what am I kind of thing? And then like you're basically manager, producer, all of the above.
Yes. And how many hats have you got in your closet?
Oh, so many. Like
so many.
Array.
Yeah.
One. No. Yeah. So I mean, like even now, like I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I can't do this all myself, because I was finding that I was lacking. Like I'm like, I can't write anymore. Like I'm like, I could write like an instrumental. I'll be like, okay, I just can't get lyrics right now. I just can't hear it, or I can't whatever. And I found myself like, I had a plate that was like this full. It had like everything on it, like this, and I was like, okay, it's too much. So I did have to take a step back and kind of realizing, when you're in that is a good thing too. So you can kind of outsource. So I've got my own business, Sounds Out Loud. So I kind of built it up like, okay, I can't do this myself. So, I've got like an engineer in LA. I've got, other people who I kind of call upon of like, okay, I need this look for a cover art. I need this for, whatever it is, like style me or that kind of stuff. So
the business itself has all of those different people underneath it, which become your team. Do you outsource that for other people, or is it just for you?
Yeah, I recorded a R&B artist in Brooklyn. So I did 5 songs for her. And then so basically just like kind of was like, yes, you can get like an online aggregator. So, like CD Baby or TuneCore or something like that. Yes. So you can self-produce, and, you kind of like have that control, and you kind of like, yes, it's great having a record label and stuff like that, but sometimes you don't have a lot of the same in how you want to be represented or presented and that kind of stuff. So from my point of view, like I was, just like do it together. Like, do you know what I mean? If you can create a team of people around you that you trust and know your style and your brand. And if you put out there, like I'm looking to, I need someone to design, cover art for me right now. So I'm putting it out there. And then, like I'm networking again, and then you kind of just have conversations with people. And then it's like, oh, you find out a certain thing about someone, and it's kind of like, oh, well, maybe we can collaborate, or it kind of brings another dynamic into what you're doing. And then it's, for me, it's kind of team building, but also around, how you want to present. But
Yeah.
And then that kind of stuff really does able you to kind of have that time where you're like, okay, I've got this idea for a song. I really just want to sit down. So you pick up the guitar and then you just like write a song in 15 minutes or something. Do you know what I mean? So you can kind of whatever, just like you need, like be good to yourself too. Like know what you have to do and like kind of the things that you need to do to get out there. But, you know, look after your own self with your creativity.
Yeah, for sure.
Important.
It's so important because that's got to come first, doesn't it? And so I'm hearing what you're saying is like build a tribe, build a team around you that can help you with those things that you're not necessarily, you know, is taking you away from your creative stuff as well. I've done the same myself. I've got writers that I work with in Italy, of all places, and South Africa as well. And, you know, knowing them has given me another pathway into other things that I needed, like artwork and, you know, website guys and a mentor that works with me and people to write scripts for me as well. And, you know, so, yeah, I hear you. It's just, what about you, Arowe? Have you got something to add there?
I'll just say, Matt, I had a lot of hurdles communicating with people and trusting others. And I, like, releasing the control over to like the director of cinematography for my first video, or just even my photographer. We clash all the time because I don't know how to be a model, but I love working with him, and he's always like, move your head like this, do this, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable, but that he knows how to get the shot to make me look like a model. So I just have to, like, you know, teach myself constantly, trust. And you know, I feel like I've heard like being tenacious and determined and delegating is so important, and just learning to do those things, like how to manage my tenacity but not burn the candle at two ends.
Absolutely.
And, like, I have an alarm now as a grown-up. I have an alarm for 3 meals a day to get up and to go to sleep.
That's cool. So you
like,
actually schedule that in.
100%. I know I could do a 3-day bender with no sleep. I know it. I would get my website done. I would do my tax. I might even write an album. It's been done in the past. But my personality would go crazy and I might get an eating disorder. So I just, like, I'm just looking forward to, like, being healthy and potentially, you know, having children one day. So I need to, like, look after my body so I can do that. And being that lucid, dreamy, arty girl that I used to be, that would do, like, stay up all night and write a book and, like, stay in the studio and sleep under the desk and just eat muesli bars for days. Like, that's not... You know, like, it was great back then, but I never, like, I wasn't learning tenacity and I wasn't learning how to delegate. Because if you can just go to yourself, okay, it's 10 o'clock, I'm going to go home and I'm going to come back at 10 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm going to call my mate who just wants to do 2 hours producing this track. I'll let that happen overnight now. So I can just, like, now I give up. I'll just won't even listen to a track for days, and then I'll be like, great, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Instead of, like, obsessively, like,
I used to do that. I'd be in the studio, you know, you're working on everything, and then it wasn't until I got in the car, you know, the next day or the next morning, whatever, put it on, I'm like, okay, yeah, now I know what I need to do. It's all a process, isn't it? And it's such an interesting process. And I'm sure there's people out there listening. If you do have questions, please write in. And I just like to do a shout out for the ladies on the panel. Please go check out their music, check out their pages, and give them a like and a follow, because that's what it's all about, is supporting women in music. And that's what I'm really passionate about. I actually just wrote a song called Free Ride, which is all about empowerment of women and loving the journey along the way. And what I'm hearing tonight is we're all doing the same thing. We've got all these fingers and all these pies and networking, and from that network you get another network in it, you know. And it's just this time that we're in with COVID is just it's exciting. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sort of like, I'm loving it, because I'm being able to reach out to people that I wasn't networking enough. I always thought I was, and, you know, I'm a pretty friendly chick, but I'm so busy now, and I'm not, all my work is gone, but I'm so busy now because I'm constantly building my networks, developing relationships, spending time with people like yourselves, offline and on, trying to reshape where I'm going. And I just see that as women in music, we wear so many different hats, you know. Not only are we, you know, mothers, I am, you've all got that to look forward to, no doubt. Do you find, and I won't want to get negative here, but I'm interested of your opinion. Do you find that age is a barrier for you? And just as a location can be a barrier, you know, you're popping into Sydney and you're popping into LA and New York, the scenes are so big over there. We've really got a great scene on the Gold Coast, but do you find age is a barrier? Because, and yeah, like over 35, is there availability for those competitions we were talking about? A Triple J on Earth, are they only looking for the 17, 20-year-old? Like what
well,
do you
technically
feel?
they're not looking, technically the ABC, only the Triple J network broadcasts to 17 to 30. So they're not technically looking for over 30-year-olds. But I've been reading the fine print, guys. There's nothing in there about age. And I think since Amy Shark, you know, broke out at 30 and she's been, and people, like a lot of people were going like, how did you do it?
Older.
You know,
I thought she was older than that.
She is now, but it was, so she's my age. So it was, she was 30 when that happened. I don't want to tell you how old I am. But I did get my only grant at 25, and at that point I was at the cutoff, and they quoted me on what I said at the time because they thought I was being funny, but it's a very realistic thing that if you aren't in the age bracket for funding, you're not going to get funding. And so I'm actually going to petition, and you can hold me to this, AMCOS, about creating funding for over 35-year-old women specifically, because it doesn't exist. And it's just stupid that it doesn't exist, because a lot of women drop out of the industry to go become mothers, and then when they come back, they don't have that CD cycle to, well, you know, that their audience has scattered. So they really need the industry to get back behind them and support them. And as far as I know, only the Carol Lloyd Award in the Queensland supports women in that position.
Well, what's your perspective on that, Katy?
I don't think age is an issue at all. I feel like, you know, if you've got the goods, if you've got the voice, if you've got the style, if you completely own your music and it's good and you love it, if you love your music and you're like, oh, like, listen to this song, and like, do you know what I mean? I feel like that's contagious, and I feel like, you know, people are gonna love it. If you love it, there's people out there that are going to love your music. Yeah.
And they're not going to say, oh, how old is she? You know,
there's
no stigma around that anymore, you don't feel.
No, I feel like all of that kind of stuff has really dropped off. And especially with like, you know, The Voice and, you know, Idol and those kind of shows, and kind of, you know, like Susan Boyle, like, you know, and like for her, like how, like she was older, and you know she's got this phenomenal voice, and you know you kind of like don't judge a book by its cover. That's why I love, like, you know, The Voice has like the blind auditions, because that's all they're relying on is like how do they sound. And you know, like I think that's kind of a lot of that facade of like, oh, you know, if you're not young, if you're not this particular age, like it's not going to happen for you anymore. Like I've had people say that to me for the longest. I actually had like a family member say it to me not too long ago, which was heartbreaking, but like
really,
so good. Yeah.
Really.
So it was, like, anyway. But that was like their mindset of like, oh, you know, if it hasn't happened by now, you know, you've been doing music for so long, and you know, if it hasn't happened by now, then you know you should really give. And I'm like, what? But I mean, like, I know there's people out there that love my music. I've like, you know, I love my music, and I'm not gonna, you know, stop doing it because one person says it, and that's like, you know, where the whole like haters thing. Like haters can hate, but you know, but
That's it.
yeah, you own you, and that's like part of what I'm about, like owning you, who you are, and you know, being yourself, and like taking full ownership of what you have, because what you have, nobody else has, and what you have is unique. Everybody's unique. We're all unique.
Yeah. And so age doesn't get in the way of that, because they're connecting with you, the person, and as long as you're being authentic, that's going to come across. Yeah. And obviously, Elena, you are a lot younger than us. You're the baby of the group tonight. But do you look at, so let me spin it around, do you look at people that are older, people, you know, there was a guy on The Voice last night, his name escapes me, but he was excellent, and he was 60 something. Do you look at that and go, oh, you've been around, you should be off now? Or do you go, wow, that you've got I want to be like that and have that staying power and still be making a living out of it all those years later?
I definitely, like, I honestly think that age does play a part, mainly in terms of, like, say on The Voice or on like Australian Idol when that was around and stuff. When you have, say, a 12-year-old go on the show and they're great, the audience goes, oh my goodness. And you may have producers that go, we want her, rather than a, 35-year-old who may have just as good of a voice, but because they don't have that, or like the 60-year-old, that's like, whoa, 60. And so but I definitely do agree with, if you stay like true to yourself and, everyone's unique, then of course, inevitably you are going to collect a following. But I think for producers, I'm obviously not a producer myself or anything, so I don't know exactly what they're looking for. But from what I see from what I've seen, normally I think that producers and stuff like to pick up somebody who kind of catches the eye of, a large demographic of people. And so, like,
how do you think your generation, though, like, so not from your personal opinion, and I'm getting you to speak for all of your generation right now, but do you think they view it similarly to you? Like it's, what I'm hearing is it's shock value, it's that extra sell, because, oh my God, that's a 7-year-old and how good are they? Or a 12-year-old, as you were saying, oh, he's a 6-year-old and he's still still around with that staying power. So what do we do with the ones in between? How are we perceived by your generation and the ones in between? Just interested to know.
Well, I think that I'm not actually.
I really put you in the firing line tonight.
Well, I don't think that, like, if we're listening to an artist, like, okay, say for example, a friend goes to another friend and goes, oh, listen, and they go, oh, this is cool. What's their name? Oh, yeah, this is really cool. Yeah. They don't go, oh, yeah, how old's this person? Yeah. Like, like, that's not the first question that people ask. Like,
it's all about the music. Yeah. Or the voice, exactly. Whatever
but I do find, like, for example, when I'm busking, I have a sign, right? And when I have the sign up saying my age, like, I did a little experiment. So one night I had the sign up with my age, and then the next night I decided to not put the sign up with my age. And, you may be like, oh, it just depends on the night and stuff, but it's Surfers Paradise. Friday and Saturday night are basically exactly the same. And and I noticed that the night that I had my sign up, I got so much more money. And then, like, I hear people walk past, go, wow, she's 17. Wow, she's 17. Or like back when, wow, she's 15. Or wow, she was 14.
Yeah.
And so it is interesting.
Well, you keep using that draw card as long as you like.
Yeah. Okay, everybody use what's like a shock value for you, and everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, really? Look at that.
I feel like on, like, shows like The Voice, I feel like years ago it was about The Voice, and it was about your, capability as a singer. But now I've noticed that, like, they've always done it, but now they really, really focus on their backstory, or something about them to make them pop, because I guess in today's age, you do have to have something to make you stand out from the rest of the crowd. But they really, really zone in and accentuate, a little thing that, and I heard, somebody told me about, they had a family member go on The Voice, and there was like this tiny little issue between them and their parents, and then the people of The Voice and stuff, they got onto that, and on the show they just absolutely blew it way out of proportion to make it seem
right.
And so, you know, whenever I'm watching it with Mum, we go, oh, what's the story now? You know, what's the sob story, or what's the, you know.
But don't you think that ties into what we were talking about earlier? Like, it's all branding, it's all marketing, and it's all about trying to tap into the authentic you. So they're not lying about those stories. They're not embellishing on those stories. I don't think. They're sort of saying, they're sort of saying, oh, you know, this person has been going at this for so long, you know, and people get behind that. They go, oh, wow, you know, or they admire the Susan Boyle because, you know, the way her age and things like that. So, you know, you've got your pull card, you know, your shock value thing. And that leads me to my next question. What's your pull card, each of you? Obviously, you know, I think Elena has really made a good point. She did a little experiment. That's such an awesome story that, you know, you're using your, I wouldn't say you're using your age, but you're putting it out there, and that's obviously getting you a lot more attention. So why not? You know, and it is interesting. You're 17, you're out busking in Surfers Paradise on a Friday, Saturday night. I hope your mum's there. I won't be letting my daughter. It's scary down there sometimes.
Either.
But good on you. So for anyone that is listening in right now, please go and check out the ladies and see where they will be performing, whether that be live or whatnot, because we always need that support. And so Arowe, what's your pull card? Do you have a pull card?
I don't know. My pull card used to be independent. Used to be like I'm a soloist, and I would rock up with my guitar, and in between songs I crack jokes, and I can turn a bar like that they do not want to know me. I can turn them around into listening to me, and then I'll be like, and now I'm going to sing it a cappella. And then they'll be like, who do you think you are?
We'll stick around. We will be having a lot of music on the show. And I'm hoping that Arowe might come back one week and do a little performance for us. I'm sure that
What's
we can.
What's the pull card that you think I have?
Look, I find you a very magnetic business entrepreneurial artist. And I find it really really interesting. Like, I want to get to know more about you. Every time I hear you talk, and we talk a lot.
I say that's like who I've become, because I remember one time I got on stage, and this was just after the election where Julia Gillard got kicked out and Abbott got put in, and I announced a song, and I was like, and this song's called I just said, and my next song, and nobody was listening to me, and I was like, you guys are so apathetic. This is why Tony Abbott got in, and everybody shut up. It was like a 360 bar, and I was like, I'm on a microphone making jokes at their expense, and I go, and this next song's called "Fuck Yourself," and everybody was like, oh my god,
hang on a minute, where is this? What location were you actually
the venue's called the Spotted Millard in Brunswick in Melbourne. It's an actual ballroom, so and there's a bar there. No politicians, no. It was people, punters, and I was just commenting on like social issues at the bar, because the way people were like so into their beer and not into me, and I was just like, guys, I'm a beautiful soul singer here. So my charisma that you're talking about, like, it's morphed into like a business sense, but it just used to be like a real larrikin. Like, I'll call the shit out. I see people acting dumb, I'll call it out, and I'll do it in between my amazing soulful songs.
Yeah. And what about you, Katy?
I would say
your pull card.
My pull card. I think it's just about like really kind of like grabbing people of like where they're at, because I feel like, you know, if I'm on set and, you know, even acting and stuff like that, like, you know, it always turns to, you know, like talking about like neuroscience and quantum physics and stuff, which I've kind of been like, you know, into like for the last like 4+ years. So I'm like,
there's so many different layers to you, girl. Like,
oh my gosh, like I know I confuse myself sometimes. But yeah, I feel like it's like my message is I kind of just, yeah, like the pull card for me is just being relatable to the people that have gone through what I've gone through. So I feel like I express that through my songs lyrically, and obviously like melodically, as you know, music and lyrics come together to create that emotion, as we're kind of, you know, like that example, you know, of turning off, like muting the sound, and then kind of, you know, realizing the impact that music plays on you. So yeah, I guess, I don't know, that in a nutshell, just kind of loving on people. Like my message is love. Like I'm just like love, and just like being your true authentic self. That's where my heart is at.
Yeah.
So I guess that, I don't know.
Yeah, look, I think mine is kind of more it's a little merge of what you've already said. And I find that when I'm performing live, the thing that I get the most complimented for, I suppose, and things that the feedback that I get from, you know, my supporters, is that I'm able to warm the room with my personality, and that comes obviously through my music as well, so that I'm telling my own story, because I write a lot of songs about my life, obviously, as we all do, and they can relate to that. But it's the talking in between, like Arowe was saying, like talking, my witty kind of, you know, banter, and that draws people into my personality and who I am, and they go, oh, well, she's real, you know what I mean? So I find, I mean, live performance is absolutely everything. And I don't know if I cut through the same way when you're actually listening to the song on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, to when you come to a live performance. It's just so much better, isn't it? Because you can show people who you are, and you're delivering that through lyric and music, but it's really nice for them to put the two together and meet you in person and hear that sometimes you're a bit funny, or your, you know, opinions on things, and your personality. Yeah. So I find that that kind of keeps it real for people. But listen, you wouldn't believe it, we've been chatting for like nearly over an hour, so it's so easy. We just burn an hour. So nice. I really want to get you ladies back on to perform, and but I think it's important for Alina, because she's got some fans out there that are really expecting her to perform tonight. So I'd love to give her the opportunity to close the show. And Katy, if you accept my invite to come back, we're covering many different topics for women in music, and you know, I'm very open to obviously having males on the show as well. Definitely no feministic attitude here. But yeah, I'm opening it up to anyone that's watching as well. If you'd like to come on the show, or you want to chat, or you want to engage with me or one of the other ladies, it's all about collaboration. It's all about networking. That's something we've talked about tonight. So I would love to have more music on the show. So I think next time, if you tune in, we'll probably whack in a little interval of some tunes, and then we'll close the show again with someone else. So something for you all to look forward to. I really want to thank you all for being on my first live. You have made it very interesting. It would have been very boring with just me. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. And thank you so much.
Where can we find you, ladies? Can you just give a little shout out about yourself, where people can find you? And then I'd like us to post it up. If you can see the comments there, ladies, please tag yourselves in so that people can find you toward the end of the comments. It'll be easy to find that way. So yeah, please do that before you go offline. Stay online afterwards, ladies, and we'll just have a quick chat before you go. But yeah, Alina, take it out. We're going to give you full screen, baby. Full screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an original song.
Oh, hang on. Just a shout out for each of the ladies before they go. Where can I find your music, Katy?
Spotify, Katy Tunbridge, Spotify, iTunes, basically anywhere where you can stream music. My YouTube channel, I've got all my music videos and stuff like that on there too.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And Arowe, you've got a couple of different pages, don't you? You've got a couple of different genres.
I'm just promoting arowebandcamp.com at the moment.
Yeah. And you also have a huge page where you support women in music as well.
That's right.
If you'd like to add that on, I'm sure people will be really interested.
I'll add that there, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that next week. Next week. But yeah, definitely add on your tags there, ladies. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
Alina, take it out. See you next week, everyone. Please share, download, go and check out the ladies. See you soon.
Two hearts meet, just like in fairy tales, are meant to be. We fall in love, you become a part of me, like the things you see in dreams, but only. Life can get hard sometimes, I know. There's always one thing I know for sure, that I can promise you forever, more than anyone else can. And I can promise you every now and all that I am. When we're apart, no matter the distance, you're inside my heart. Well, people tell me I'm too young to know the truth, that I can't love you. People get hard sometimes, I know. But there's always one thing I know for sure, I can promise you forever, more than anyone else can. And I can promise you every now and all that I am. When two hearts are meant to be together, no matter how long it takes, how far we go, how tough it seems, we'll always know that I can promise you forever, more than anyone else can. And I can promise you every now and all that I am. And I can promise you forever, more than anyone else can. And I can promise you every now and all that I am. And all that I am. Thank you. Oh, I cannot hear you. I think you're muted.
Wow! I deliberately didn't go across and listen to any of your music because I just wanted to be beautifully surprised, and I could just tell by the stuff that I've read about you and been told about you that that was kind of going to be a really special moment. Thank you so much. Everybody, please get behind the lovely ladies that have been on the panel tonight. And if you want to come on the show and do a song, or you just want to have a chat, I welcome you, male or female. We're all equal here. Have a great night. Please share, have a watch party, make some comments, guys. Love to hear from you all. And like the Jodie Joy music page, I would really appreciate that. And, of course, all our other ladies. See you next Wednesday, everybody. Bye, bye, bye.